Hello everyone, and I'm here now to give you my review of Seventh Son. And basically, Seventh Son is basically a fantasy film that is newly released this week, for the last few weeks. And this movie is not getting a good word amount at all. It's like a lot of people are just saying it's a bad movie. And I am not going to argue with that. I can see that. Basically the story is like, there's this type of wizarding history type of countdown type of thing that's going on, and Jeff Bridges and this other kid who are Jeff Bridges comes to this kid played by Ben Brensaw, I believe, and he comes to him and he says, like, you know what, we're the last of this type of bloodline of these wizards and witches, and we discovering you, and you need to take out the villain, who's played by Julianne Moore, and that's where the story goes. And a bunch of fantasy, high type of all that type of shit continues. Now, truth be told, I saw a trailer for this movie about a year ago. There's a bit of a story. And I saw a trailer for this movie about a year ago, but it was on DVD. And when I saw it, I'm just like, okay. And over a year, and over a while, I've been when I saw this trailer, I'm just like, this looks really ridiculous. There's no doubt to me, it looks ridiculous. And when I saw this movie, I was just like, my expectations were pretty much the same with 300 Rise of an Empire, because it's like the same studio and the production that brought us 300 Rise of an Empire. So I'm just like, okay, let's go into this. And because I went to this film with very low expectations, even though I wanted it to be at least somewhat fun. This is on the levels of, it's so ridiculous, it's good. And a lot of people say this movie is bad, and I'm not going to argue with you, it is bad, but I will at least say it's so bad, it's fun. It's so bad, it is fun. And I don't mean like 300 Rise of an Empire level. Like, well, I thought the movie was very fun, but this movie is just so stupid. It's so ridiculous. It's fun. Well, here's what I'll say about the good things. Number one, Jeff Bridges. And who can blame him on that? It's Jeff Bridges. I love Jeff Bridges. He was in True Grit. He was in The Big Lebowski, which is one of my favorite comedies. And he's just been in so many great films. And in this movie, he plays this old, wise mentor. And we've seen that a million times. We've seen Mickey from Rocky. We've seen Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid. We see Gandalf. We see so many characters embody this type of role. And you know what? I think he doesn't have a fun. I think he doesn't fine, and it's just like, he's funny, he's likable, he has a bunch of few good one-liners. Ben Brensaw, or I believe I'm pronouncing that name correctly, as a main type of protagonist in this film, and he's actually kind of likable. You go to like him. He's fine, and eventually you actually get to see Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. That's awesome. I was very happy when I saw him, and I'm just like, yeah, that's really good. I'm like, okay, he's fine, that's cool. And the action, the production design, and the aesthetics, and the type of designs of, not just the cinematography, but the designs of these type of creatures is quite interesting. And I do like the artistic view of the feeling. Like, it's like a good homage back to, let's say, like the Harryhausen days with like the type of design, although it's like 100% different from the Harryhausen days, where that was 100% practical effects. This is 100% CGI effects, and it's so obvious. Like, it's more obvious than 300 Rise of an Empire. Like, it's so clearly CG. But the design and the look of it does kind of remind me of those Harryhausen type of films, and I do really like that. There's a sense I'm just like, it's kind of connecting the parallels with those. Like, straight up to tell you guys, this movie is like, artistically, I love it. It's beautiful. Like, the designs of the places, the settings, and the creature designs, like the one you see in the trailer with the 4 arms, and of the dragon, and of the weapons. I'm just like, artistically, the movie is great looking. Like, it kind of reminded me of like Labyrinth and Harry Potter, kind of mixing it in together, and I'm just like, cool, I like that, that's fine. And the action, did I say the action? Yeah, the action was fine for its own sake. And I'm just like, I had more fun action with this movie than anything else this year, to be honest. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine, let's keep going. Now, here's what's wrong with me, because to be honest, there's a fair bit, as some of you may expect now. Before I go anywhere into that, I'm going to say this. On Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has a 10%. It has a 10%. And there's like a 35-40% people who want to see this. I believe it should be a little bit higher, but it's just like, it's still bad, okay? I'm not denying it's not good. I just felt like addressing that, okay? I just felt like addressing that. But, okay, let's get into the bad things, because there's a fair bit. Number one is that the story, for its own sake, is just, it expects you to buy all of this. The other thing is that it's super silly, it's inconsistent, and there's a lot of problems with it. It just falls out of bounds at times, and there's a lot of points where you really do just drop your mind. Your mind just drops everything that's logical and functional in this world. You're just like, oh my god, this is stupid. This is so friggin' stupid. Like, holy shit. You really expect me to buy this? But then again, it's fantasy-ish. I'm just like, this movie's stupid. It's so stupid. And it's like, it has this type of glossy with the effects, with the lighting type of feel. Like, the way you would see me in this video is very much like that, with the haziness, and everything is kind of muted. And I'm just like, it's very distracting. The effects are clearly fake, and the way it's shot is super distracting at points. The story is out of bounds. It's unbelievably stupid. But then again, I will say in the end, if you give into the madness, if you give into the stupidity, I would say it's more guilty pleasure than a Project Almanac. But then again, it's not as clever. I hate for Project Almanac. I wouldn't say it's as clever as Project Almanac, but I would say it is Project Almanac at least gets you thinking about what it is about. But this film is kind of like this. It's like brain sugar. It just has no considerable amount of challenging you. And I'm just like, whatever. But in the end, I fairly liked I fairly liked it. If you know what you're getting yourself into, then go ahead and enjoy this film. As far as I'm concerned, this movie is stupid. Just unbelievably stupid. But like I said before, if you go into this film with low expectations, just not expecting that much, then go ahead. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know, I don't care. Seventh Son, in my opinion, probably gets a 55%. I'm maybe too forgiving for this film, and you could definitely call me out on that if you want, because I view this movie as a lot more of a guilty pleasure. Same thing with 300, Rise of an Empire. But yeah, it's, if you just look at this as one hell of a guilty pleasure, or this one stupid, shitty, this type of film that it is, then I can't blame you. If you had fun with this movie, same thing. Alright, go have fun with it. This is definitely the type of movie that you want to bring your friends to see, because it's just so balls out dumb. It really is. I give like you said before, I'll give this movie a 55% for what it is and how much I took out of it. I'll give it a 55%. This, a project, like, Son of Project Almanac. Project Almanac is probably more well made, but this film is a bit more of a guilty pleasure. Like, it's just a bit more, like, have fun with it type of movie. And in the end, that's what I'll say about this movie. I'll give it a 55%, and everyone, I think I'm losing it. I think I'm becoming a bit too forgiving as a film critic. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you within the future. I'm done.